Islam.
We're Aussies at the end of the day. I mean, you know, I'm from Dubbo and she's from Mudgee.
Outcasts in their own land.
You're either with us or you're against us.
It's the war on Muslims. It's the war against Islam.
I would defend Islam with my life, so that makes me a filthy, dirty, subhuman terrorist.
It's not a bad thing for Islam what Osama bin Laden has said.
You have just asked me a question that could very well have me put away for a long time.
They believe they're innocent victims of the war on terror.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Rabia Hutchinson lived with the Taliban, married into Al-Qaeda, and today is labelled Australia's Grand Dame of Terror. Her close friend, Raisa bint Alan Douglas, has 8 children from 5 marriages. Her current husband, a suspected terrorist. Their stories are like no other.
Jihad is a very, very broad word. Covers so much. It doesn't just mean war in terms of fighting. It actually means struggle. It's a jihad to live in Australia every day.
Raisa bint Alan Douglas, a 5th-generation Australian, became a Muslim almost 2 decades ago.
I grew up not even knowing what a Muslim was. Never heard of Islam.
Raisa was raised a Catholic. One of 8 children, she was born Rosalie Bannerman and grew up in the New South Wales country town of Dubbo.
My father died when I was 3 years old. He drowned in Condobolin River, and my mother was left widowed with 5 children. My mum, I just saw her struggle all the time.
At all times she was interested in religion and she asked a lot of questions. She was always very inquiring. She didn't accept as they were presented.
At 6, Raisa left her hometown for a bigger stage, Sydney. She found herself a secretarial job and a flat at the beach.
I was still a bleeding heart Catholic. I used to go every Friday to eat fish, as you do.
Raisa was drawn into a new world.
I met this group of African people, and I'd always been fascinated by all things African. A few of them would talk to me and say, you know, we're Muslim.
Raisa met Abdi Ali, a political refugee from Somalia. He was the first of 5 husbands.
We were walking along George Street. He said to me, he said, you know, we don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. And I said, what? I said, no. I said, then you're a heathen.
They married in a simple Islamic ceremony.
It's like, there's no such thing as like girlfriend and boyfriend, you just get married.
Raisa and Abdi moved to Melbourne and started a family. He drove taxis day and night, and she was home with their 2 small children.
Hello, how are you? I started meeting people. The world kind of opened up a bit. I had a lot of friends who were Australian Muslims like myself, and so life was beginning for me as a Muslim, as a mum, as a Muslim wife.
I divorce you.
As her knowledge of Islam grew, her marriage to Abdi fell apart.
I divorce you.
She had split up with Abdi. She was with a group of women. I feel ashamed of it now. I said, all these women that have become Muslim, I said, they're all got some kind of traumas in their background. I said, and that's why they do this. You know, it's like a refuge for them. I mean, that's not a very nice thing to say. And I disapproved of the whole thing because I felt that they were a little bit extreme.
Raisa embraced an extreme interpretation of Islam known in the West as Wahhabism.
What is the real Islam? What is the core of it? What is the matter of it? A lot more converts embrace the so-called Wahhabi or hardline fundamentalist branch of Islam because that's the pure Islam.
Raisa's pure form of Islam originated in Saudi Arabia. Followers are encouraged to live as the Prophet Muhammad did in the 7th century.
Wahhabism is actually the official madhab of Al-Qaeda. Osama bin Laden and his companion believe that it is the pure Islam.
Osama bin Laden began to look at his Islam and take on this supposedly fundamentalist hardline of Islam. It's not. It's the correct version of Islam. It's the undiluted version of Islam. But I don't know the man and he doesn't know me, and the only thing that I have in common with Osama bin Laden is that he's a Muslim and I'm a Muslim. And that's all.
These people are following this form of pure Islam, which is the literal, traditional Salafi style of Islam. This, in their view, is not adulterated by the Western mind.
I noticed that she was wearing abayas, like a full cover dress, where she was covering her hair completely. She was more critical of Western ways, more critical of us as well.
We hear a lot. They're oppressed, those poor darlings. Are you hot in there? Well, I say, look, it's hotter in hell. So you know what? I'd rather wear this now, and if I am a bit hot, it's hotter in hell. So I'll just do what God told me to do.
And Raisa's religion also told her she should marry again.
Very important for a woman in Islam to be married. It is said that it is half your religion to marry, for a man or a woman.
She was now very clear on the kind of Muslim she wanted to marry.
You know, when you become Muslim, you so admire people with knowledge. It's like, oh, be still my heart when he talks about jihad, the Arabic he speaks. Oh, that's for us. It's not like, you know, he's a bit cute or, you know, he drives a... That's not really important to us. But if he's going to stand there with his beard and his sword and say, you know, I'm into jihad, that is extraordinarily attractive.
Raisa's second husband, Rashid Farah, was another Somali. Their marriage was doomed from the start. Soon after, his application for refugee status was rejected.
I found out I was pregnant. I said, well, what are we going to do now? You're supposed to leave the country.
Rashid was convicted of immigration fraud and was to be deported. Instead, he disappeared, provoking the attention of ASIO.
I can't say where he is now. Can of worms. Australian government is still interested. They're still interested in where he is and what he's doing. At one point, ASIO tried to buy me off and they said, tell us about Rashid. And I said, no.
Raisa was not single for long. Her third husband, Aiden Jamal, was another Somali refugee. He'd been tortured in